Okay, so we're doing a question that asks us to flip the dice 5 times, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we have our coin. Okay. Circle here, yeah. Let's say we have our coin, and we know it's going to be either heads or the coin's going to be tails, right? So we'll go over. So on the very first flip, we're going to say we go with our 2 options. We have heads and we have tails, right?
Yeah.
That's our first flip, which you girls both got. From there, you know what I'll do? We'll color code these just so it's easy to tell which one's which. We'll heads will be blue, and we'll do tails in red. Okay. From there, what you're supposed to do is your next branch of the tree goes from each option. So we had heads as an option. So from there we make another two-way chart, and from the tails we make another two-way chart.
So that will be heads and tails.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have heads and heads as an option, and tails as an option. Okay. Now, what's important here is we go again. We know that this is our second option.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to try to find a pattern. How many options do we have in our first flip?
One.
Well, altogether we had
two.
We had 2 options, right? A total of 2. How many options do we have in our
4?
4. Okay. Let's go ahead and try our third now. So from this heads, we have a heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, right? So this is now our third option. Tails. This is our third option. This. How many options do we have in our third?
8.
8. Did you guys notice a pattern at all?
Is it multiplied by 2? What?
So I took this number and I multiplied by
2
to get to 4. And then to get to 4, I multiplied again by
2.
2. That's right. So in our fourth option, from our pattern,
16.
that's right, we're going to have 16. Let's quickly look. From that heads, we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Run out of room, right? 1, 2, and 1, 2. Okay? So quickly get those in. We have heads, 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 heads. Should make this chart smaller. And we have our tails. So yes, in that one, we have a total of 16 options.
Yeah.
So I asked you guys, because I know in class you did 4 flips. You were to flip it on your 5th.
So that'd be 32.
Yes. Well, times 2, we're going to get 32. So that's going to be pretty hard to fit in here, but I'll try it. Okay, so we have our heads and our tails, heads and tails, heads and tails, heads. We can count along. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So I got a little crammed in there.
Yeah.
But if you noticed, we had 32. Now, how many of those options were heads?
1.
Well, of each pairing, yeah. But how many options altogether were heads in their 5th flip?
Oh.
I don't know how many of those tails in there. Go ahead and count it out.
16.
That's right, half of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, it would be half would be heads, so then how many will be tails?
It'll be 16.
16 again, that's right, yeah. So after our fifth flip, we have 32 options, and 16 of them are heads and 16 of them are tails, okay? So let's try this. We'll zoom out a little. Okay, we'll try to go down here. That means we have 32 options. That is a lot. So the very first option we have, we'll just kind of quickly go here. We'll get used to the pattern. But did we go?
Heads.
Yeah, what would it be? It'd be to go heads,
Heads.
heads, heads, and heads. That's right. So that's 5 in a row, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second option. We're going to take the same route, just at the end we're going to change off, okay?
Yes.
So we go heads, 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 tails. Yes, T.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So we have heads, 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 tails. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to our next route here. Okay, those arrows are supposed to disappear.
Because I have
Yeah, okay. That's weird. Heads, 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 tails. Because we've already exhausted those two, right?
Yeah.
Tails, and then heads.
Heads.
Okay? So this one's a little bigger than the other one we had, right? We're going heads, 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 tails, heads. So we're slowly switching through the pattern. You notice we went heads, tails. And then what do you think the next one might be? I'm going to give you hints. It could be heads, heads, heads.
Heads, tails.
We're going to keep this one the same.
We
We did that.
Oh, it's tail.
Tail, tails. Yeah, very good. And then our next one's going to look like this. 5. I'm going to give you a hint. If you notice the pattern, we went heads, tails.
Okay.
Then we went heads, tails again down here. But tails, tails, because there's 2 options. This one's going to go heads, heads, tails, heads, heads. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to switch those two, then these two. So there's lots and lots and lots of options. You guys have already written one out like this. So there's 36. So I'm going to ask you a question. What's the probability of getting all tails? Of getting 5 tails in a row. So what's the probability? That would have been our 32nd option. We were going tails, 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 tails. First of all, how many options are there?
16. No, 32.
Yes, there's 32 in this one, right? 32 in this one. So that means our denominator is going to be 32. How many options of 5 tails in a row are there?
5.
How many options of 5 tails in a row? Look down at the bottom. Do you see it at all? How many 5 tails options are there? Ready? Tails, 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 tails. Is there any other option like that?
No, so only one option.
So only one. So what is the probability?
1.
1.
1 out of 32.
The 1 out of 32 would be the probability of getting all tails. And what about all heads? Our first one.
It's only 1.
1 out of 32. That's right.
And then what the teacher did, they divided and then you times it by 100.
To get your percentage, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's open up our calculator. Let's take a look. 1 divided by 32 equals, ooh, that's a real small number there. So let's 0.0312. Okay, so we know that this is 0.0312. I got to multiply this by 100, right?
Yeah.
Multiplied by 100. This is going to give us our percentage. What do you think it's going to be?
1.25.
Close. It's going to be 3%, so 3.125. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to draw the 5. So your percentage is 3.125. So it's only a 3% chance. If you flip a coin 5 times in a row, that's very rare. Very rare that you're going to get all tails or all heads when you flip a coin over and over and over again. Okay? So, you're asking me, is there a possibility of going heads and then heads, heads,
Yeah.
heads, and then heads again?
Yeah.
We can't do that because
Is it because you have
we have to follow our route.
Okay.
So if I go to this heads, I only have two options, this way and this way. I can't jump down to here because he's not connected to my tree. Okay? I can only follow where I'm connected. So I could go a funny route. I could go heads and then tails and then heads and then tails and heads. But that's about it. I have to go down the route I'm connected to. I can't just jump, like I wouldn't be allowed to go tails to heads, down to here. Can't do any of that. No. Once you go to a spot, especially if there's only two options, so once I went to tails, there's only two options. So I can either go heads or I can go tails from there. That's it. And then say I decided to go tails from there. So I went tails, tails. From this tails, I could still only go heads or tails. I only have two options from everywhere I go. Because there's a flipping of a coin, right? So I only have two options everywhere I go. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. So,